What's up, guys? It's Jones.
And I'm Man. And tonight we are back with one of those very special Jones Goes Blind episodes. Jones has the sample that we are going to be cracking in this episode, and he doesn't have a clue of what it is. I know, and if you guys will watch this, you'll know. So here it is. This is going to be episode H, which I felt like I needed to get a little creative this time. It's going to be Courvoisier's Avant-Garde, which this is actually finished in bourbon cask. So I think this will give us, or give Jones a little bit of a spin. Nah, I think he's going to get it. So I'm going to do as always, I'm going to open it up here on camera with you guys. Here we go. Because we like to have that fresh, open experience. I'm going to pour, ooh, that smells great. But I'm going to pour up a sample for Jones and label it. He's not going to know what it is. And I'm not going to taste it until we taste it live on air. So, this is Courvoisier Avant-Garde, episode H. All right. So, Jones, everybody and me know what this is that we're going to try. So, as always, we're going to crack right into it, and we're going to let you see what you can tell us about it, make some good educated guesses, and then we'll give the big reveal, and we'll talk about the spirit as a whole. We'll rate it and everything. So, let's go ahead and sniff it.
Well, it's brown.
Okay, it
At
is
first,
brown.
I was going to say rum, but it doesn't have enough legs on it for rum.
Okay.
And it's super dark. So I'm guessing this is going to be a cognac for some reason.
Okay, you think cognac? Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking very heavily cognac.
Oh, okay. All right. I get a little sweetness there, a little smokiness. I see some legs on there. It's got a little
Yeah,
glazing.
it's growing a little legs as we keep sitting and kind of.
But I get a little smokiness to it.
There is some smoke to it, but it's also like a weird sweet. It has a to me it smells like a cognac in my mind because I think of something like a brandy
Uh
almost.
huh.
It has that kind of smell to it, like it's gonna be kind of sweet but kind of rough around the edges.
Okay. Well, let's do what we do. Let's clink them and drink them.
Yes.
Clink.
This is definitely either a brandy or a cognac.
Okay. You ready to You still spending
Uh,
time with it, or you ready to go on the rocks?
let's go ahead and put this on the rocks. I've been running my mouth so much I forgot to put mine on the rocks.
Yeah. It looks like this one has you intrigued a little bit.
I think I have. Let's clink them and drink them.
Clink them and drink it.
Whoa, that is a very huge contrast from the neat shot.
Yeah. Very much so.
I'm definitely going to stick with my cognac um guess.
Okay. Cognac, brandy. Okay. Um, what
It's,
what
it's
what are your what else? What other initial thoughts? Rating? You can go into the whole spiel.
um, I'm going to pour me a little more on the rocks.
Okay.
and I'm gonna let it sit there for a little bit this time instead of it just having been chilled
Okay.
because initially that chill was 100% horrible.
Okay.
The nose on the neat is pretty sweet. Like I said, you do get some aging, and it to me it just has a like a maybe a Hennessy or Courvoisier smell to it,
Uh huh.
or at least that's what it brings back to my mind.
Okay.
And on the neat shot, I think a lot of it's it tastes like Courvoisier, but it tastes like something has been done to it to make it. It has a weird barrel aging taste to it
Mm-hmm.
that I can't, and it makes it harder to figure out if it is truly a brandy or a cognac.
Okay.
But when I took that neat shot, I mean the ice pour, initially I didn't taste anything but horrible, like just poorly. It tastes to me normally like you say Scotch
Mm-hmm.
tastes like an ashtray. In my mind, that's what it tasted like on the initial rocks pour.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give it a chance to come back and yeah, no, that's still horrible. So I'm gonna stick with my some kind of it's either aged no, it has to be a cognac because the neat pour is decent. The
Yeah.
neat pour, I would give it like a 2.75, almost three. The rocks pour, zero. That is absolutely horrible. So I guess overall, that's going to bring it back to a two. For me, this would be a two overall.
Okay. Okay. Um, I think um I'm like
So
you.
you're going to give me the reveal and let me know what it is before you go?
You want me to reveal then tell you mine? Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So you are nail on the head again. This is Courvoisier's Avant-Garde, which the Avant-Garde is a bourbon cask edition. So it is
Okay,
the typical VS finished in Kentucky barrels. It actually is listed
okay.
as a spirit drink and not a cognac or a brandy. And I guarantee you that is well not I mean it is definitely related to the finishing in bourbon cask, which means that it
Yes,
can no longer be called a cognac. Um,
yes.
so that is definitely a different experience. Even the term avant-garde, I think avant-garde, when you say, like when you talk about fashion or something, it is groundbreaking or trendy.
Yeah,
Not necessarily trendy, but like very modern, very cutting edge. And a lot of spirits are looking to um, the finishing, double barreling, however you want to call it. And I think that cognac has started to follow suit with that because you see like some sherry cask finish, and now bourbon cask finish. They're trying to um, edge out a niche in that little bit or edge out a place in that niche of the market where everybody's taking their spirit and then finishing it in an untraditional type style or type way.
yeah.
This is
Plus,
Cavassier's way of doing that.
bourbon and whiskey is like the it thing right now. So everybody wants to get something into that market of saying, hey, I just need to get my foot in the door. And now maybe you'll come back and try some of my traditional blends. But
Yeah.
That
I think
that neat is, whew,
on the neat, it starts out on the nose and on the front end as being very cognac like. It's buttery, it's smooth. No, I hate to say smooth, but it's soft entering in. Mid palate and the end that turns, and you get a dryness that comes with what I refer to as like a high proof whiskey or like scotch. Very ashy, very dry. Like you almost like typically with me, I'm not a big cognac fan, but if I sip cognac, it's just a mellow feel. Your mouth is well
yeah,
lubricated kind of deal. Well, with scotch and some higher proof things, you have an issue to be like white wine, not white wine, but like a
red
very
wine.
dry wine, which I guess some of them are white. Oh, very like ooh, you almost need to rehydrate yourself kind of deal. And I get that on the neat, on the rocks pour, you lose the smooth and butteriness and that whole really dry kind of feel is what stands out the most. It's not terrible. Like
I just get ashtray.
the longer I let it sit, the more I'm like, yeah. But for me, if I'm gonna get a cognac, I'm gonna grab a cognac. I'm not a fan of this particular blend. Um, so I probably would rate it a 2. I can't remember what I paid for it. I just happened to walk in the store and see it. I want to say maybe $40, but I'll put the price down. I'll look it up and put the price down below. We just kind of said last minute that we were going to do that, so that's why I didn't have a ton of information on this one. You can definitely tell there's a difference in this and your typical cognac.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Like the nose, you get cognac.
mm-hmm,
The initial, like you said, the forward palate feel, you get a cognac.
mm-hmm.
But rear in the back of my palate, once it starts going down, it's like this weird. I can't figure out what this actually is. Is this a wine? Is it a bourbon? Is it high proof? You
Now,
get all those things that they kind of, and maybe my palate just isn't sophisticated enough to pick out those things that I'm tasting in the rear.
yeah. I think it's a good point. Like, if I was tasting this alone, I would say, well, maybe this is a cognac for whiskey drinkers. But knowing that you're a whiskey drinker, I kind of lean towards the other school that maybe this is a cognac that you would use in cocktails. So, like, where if maybe could this make an old fashioned?
I think it could make an old
Because
fashioned.
it has a whiskey aspect to it, but it has a cognac sweetness. Could this be the cognac old fashioned, or could this could this be a twist on a Manhattan? Some of the
Yeah,
more traditional whiskey type drinks. So I'm gonna put this in the category of a mixing cognac, or I guess it's just a spirit drink. It's not really a cognac. A
yeah,
mixing spirit drink. I don't think cognac lovers are going to flock to this
man,
as it
no,
being their new branch off into cognac.
no,
Yeah.
no.
All right. Well, you nailed it. You nailed it right on the head. So, I am glad that we got to try this, and maybe we can let people be informed before they go out and buy a bottle. I don't, like I said, I don't think it's terrible, but it is two different things mashed together. And
Yeah,
I'm not going to say blend it because I don't necessarily feel that they flow into each other for my palate the best way. I think it's a very, very hard cognac whiskey stop kind of deal. So,
yeah, no. I don't think they should put any more cognac, any more Courvoisier juice into. maybe they need to select different barrels instead of a bourbon barrel.
Yeah.
Maybe use a true traditional whiskey barrel. I
And
don't
this
know,
is Kentucky whiskey, Kentucky barrel, so it is some Kentucky bourbon, Kentucky straight. Well, I'm not gonna say it's a Kentucky straight bourbon, but it's a Kentucky whiskey barrel. So it's Kentucky is known for
but
bourbon, so it's supposed to be the best of the best. It definitely is enough to be dominant in this. I think Martell has one that they have finished in a bourbon barrel. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what you guys think about that. Um,
you.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I just thought of a side question that I'll ask you after the episode.
Oh no, go ahead, throw it out.
So my question is, you see so many of these, well, not necessarily smaller distilleries, but you see Kentucky whiskey barrels used, right? So now my question is, so we did a tequila earlier this year that said they were just aged in Kentucky barrels, and I know the state of Kentucky makes a lot of whiskey and bourbon, but I'm starting to question who are they getting these barrels from, and are they the same bourbon each time? You
Mm,
know what? What type of barrel was it used to age before? Was it ancient age?
right,
Was it maybe something like Blanton's? How long did the previous uh, juice stay in the barrel?
right, right. I think I
So
think
that,
I think there's a lot of really good questions. Um, as I would assume, if I was going to create a product, I would want to use the same barrels every time. I wouldn't want to use, let's just say, one ancient age one time and then a Blanton's another time. I would if
right,
I'm on a flex, then I'm going to make those two different expressions because to me, the thing that is prevalent about spirit is that every time you go and pick that spirit up off the shelf, you want it to taste the same. I would if I buy this and I like it, then the next time I go to buy a bottle, I want it to taste the same way.
yeah,
What's also just following along with your question, what's really interesting is how the bourbon industry has uh, figured out a way to take what is in theory waste because when they're done with a
hmm
barrel, you with bourbon you can't. It's got to be new, so you can't
that's
reuse
right,
that barrel. And they figured out a way to take that barrel and make it a revenue stream. And
right,
that bourbon and whiskey has a strong enough um, the audience for bourbon and whiskey have a strong enough power that it's pulling over into cognacs, it's pulling over into tequilas.
yeah,
I just it's just I find it pretty interesting, pretty interesting.
yeah, pretty impressive market.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all right. Well, I don't know if I rated it, but I said it too.
Yeah, overall, I gave it a two as well.
Okay. So there you have it, folks. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jones and Mann. As always, check out Prestige Decanters. Use promo code JNM to save a little bit of money. And I say decanters all the time, but we got to order some. They've got fantastic glasses too. That diamond shaped glass. That's why I want the ones that just kind of wobble around on the table like that.
Yeah,
Um, they've got some other, and they make really good gifts for like if you say I got a drinker, not even just a bourbon or whiskey drinker, but I've got a drinker who I don't really know what to get them. Get them a place to put their juice, a nice decanter,
yeah,
or get them
definitely.
a nice glass to go along with it. So, um, well, this has been a Courvoisier's Avant-Garde. We'll catch you next time. Clink them and drink them.